Now, some people would argue that the webcam is one of the most important things when it comes to streaming. Well, I can say I don't know because I'm not a successful streamer, but I am in possession of one webcam, as there are tons of you can pick from, but there's the Razer Kiyo, the one that I own, and then I was also donated the Logitech C922. Now, this was a generous donation for review purposes only, so I'll be returning it, of course, by a friend, Brendan Brian Smith, who's on Twitch. I'll just put it up here and put it in the description. You can watch his streams if he ever streams. Thank you, Brendan. And so I've used his C922 before, and I've used the Razer Kiyo quite a bit, so I feel like after this after I've done a side-by-side comparison, I can make a full statement on what you should pick, because these two are fairly similar in terms of specs and pricing. Both of these cameras can film or record at 720p 60 fps and 1080p 30 fps. They're both intended for live streaming, so they're both good at what they're marketed for. But they do have some differences, some small, some fairly tremendous. So let's first talk about quality. So this is what both of the cameras look like side by side, and it's pretty apparent which has better quality. I believe that the Logitech is just better overall. It's sharper, it has more detail, and the dynamic range is a little better. And also, like, look at my skin tone. I am not that yellow. I mean, I'm Asian, but like, that is just unrealistic. That's ridiculous to me. I don't understand what the color balancing is on the Razer, but it's just not as accurate as the Logitech, and it has nothing to do with the white balancing. I tried to fix that, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't seem to matter which way I try to fix the white balance. It doesn't. My skin tone is just off. Also, I want to make a point that, like, both of them are pretty overexposed. The background is pretty overexposed, but on the Razer Kiyo, it looks like it's just blinding, like the pearly gates are right behind me. But at least on the Logitech, it doesn't look like a supernova is happening right behind me. Now, one thing that you can do so then the Razer Kiyo can at least stand a chance is I applied a LUT and a color balancing filter onto the Razer Kiyo's footage. I didn't really spend a whole lot of time, so I just noticed the shadows look a little red, but you can adjust the settings in Streamlabs, OBS, or whatever to adjust it to look a little better. But in terms, like, let's say you're streaming on Discord or Skype or something, honestly, you can't do that really outside of OBS. So you're just stuck with what you got. So if you're willing to put in the time to making a custom LUT, you can do that easily using Photoshop. Then you can make the Razer Key look serviceable. But any adjustments you make are just trying to bring it up to the level of the Logitech, so the Logitech already does better than it without really needing to edit any of the settings. So also, the autofocus on both of them is pretty horrible. I just figured I'd mention that. So then you may be asking, well, then what's the point? Well, as you may or may not be able to tell, the Razer Kiyo is significantly larger than the Logitech C922 Pro, and that is because of the ring light. Now, you may think that because the ring light is so small, it doesn't even matter. That's not true. The low light capabilities aren't as good unless you have the ring light, and then it's almost a game changer, because without the ring light, it wouldn't be able to compete. In this side-by-side I have here, you can see that the Razer Kiyo is helped significantly by the ring light. And so when put in the same conditions as the Logitech C922 Pro, without that light, the Logitech is garbage. I mean, no, not garbage, but it's not as good as it could be. So in terms of low light performance, again, the Logitech just looks better. There's less grain, and like, the colors are richer on the Razer Kiyo, but I'd rather just have better performance as opposed to completely oversaturated colors, because even though using the camera settings, they're the exact same number in terms of saturation, the Razer Kiyo just prefers to oversaturate. It seems like the blues really come out. So Again, it's kind of ridiculous how the Razer Kiyo can barely stand up to the Logitech. The one thing the Razer Kiyo has is the ring light, and if I turn off the ring light, it looks pretty bad on both of them. It's not great. I mean, the Logitech still looks a little better, but they're both not great. So the ring light is actually a pretty decent light, but is that enough to sell people on whether or not it's better? Probably not. You're better off just getting the Logitech and buying something like I have a video light you can attach onto DSLRs, and it's really bright. It is insanely bright. So it just doesn't make any sense to me to sell a webcam based on the ring light. Also, there's microphones built in on both of them. Now, if you're planning on streaming on Twitch, I would strongly recommend that you do not use the onboard microphones. This just isn't a good idea. You don't need a fancy microphone like this. You don't need anything really. Just something other than the built-in microphone. Just because it's not good. Neither of them are good. One is significantly better, but they're still not good. Use your headset. I don't care. Just stay away from the built-in microphones. Honestly, you're better off without them. In some cases, they may be better than what you have. I don't know, but try to stay away from them if you can. I'll put up a comparison right here. This is the audio when recording with the Logitech C922. The sound, I believe, is a lot better than the Razer Kiyo because it has a lot more natural, more full sound to it. As opposed to the Razer Kiyo, which you'll hear in a second, it's not even really, it's no contest. And this is the Razer Kiyo. That's what it sounds like. It's not great. Honestly, for both of them, it doesn't really matter which one you're using. You're better off just getting something like this. It doesn't even have to be a good mic. Just anything is better than any webcam mic, to be honest. They both have, they're both able to be mounted on top of your monitors. They both have a little screw at the bottom so you can mount it onto a tripod, and they both fold so you can just put it on your desk and have it aim upwards. So they both have all the same mounting options. I also want to point out that if you have a monitor with thin bezels, the Razer Kiyo could actually kind of block your monitor just because it's so chunky on the bottom that it might end up covering your monitor if the bezels are small enough. Now, you may have the same problem with the Logitech. The Logitech is slightly thinner though, so it probably won't take up. It really depends on the size of your bezels, but again, you can just mount it on a tripod if you want, or just mount it on your desk. So, where does that leave us? Well, it really depends on what you have right now. If you have decent lighting equipment or a well-lit room that you can use to record in, the Logitech C922 is the obvious answer. But if you happen to not have access to any kind of lighting equipment that you can use to, help with your streams, the ring light on the Razer Kiyo is actually pretty decent. Personally, if I were to recommend between the two, if you have the budget, I'd just recommend getting a cheap little desk lamp or something and using the Logitech C922, because the pricing, they're so similar that the ring light is almost negligible because it's just like, the quality is just so much better on the Logitech, in my opinion. The Razer Kiyo does have one thing going for it though. It looks kind of cool. It's bulky and it's fat and it sits on top of your monitor and it looks huge, but it has a folding mechanism that looks like, I think it looks pretty cool. It looks like a cylinder. It's cool. I think it looks great. Once again, I'd like to thank Brendan Bryan Smith for allowing me to borrow his webcam. Very much appreciate it. Kind of wish I have this instead of the Razer Kiyo, but that's neither here nor there. But that is going to do it for me. So if you enjoyed this kind of video, be sure to let me know in the comments. All the links will be in the description for my Twitch, for Brendan's Twitch. I do live streams every now and again. Right now I'm playing through Resident Evil. Pretty good game. Pretty solid if you ask me. But also, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that thumbs up, hit the bell, hit the subscribe button. I'm just kidding. I will not bombard you with that. But, I mean, hey, if you want to subscribe, I mean, that's pretty cool too. And follow me on Twitch and Twitter and stuff. And yeah, I've been rambling. Goodbye.